So last night, my license plate was stolen. No fun. But I do know who, or at least I think I know who did it. And here is what happened. So last night, my license plate was stolen when I went to go feed my girlfriend's cats last night. And I think I know who did it. I can't prove it. So yeah, I'm left inconvenienced right now. But what happened, so I pull into the driveway, I turn off my bike, I'm getting ready to go upstairs, and this lady and her two kids come up to me, and the lady is like, hey, I like your bike, what kind of bike is that? So I tell her, oh, it's a 2024 Yamaha MT-07, and she's like, yeah, so I always wanted to ride a motorcycle, or at least I wanted to be a passenger. I never got the chance. I was like, oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. Maybe one day you'll have the opportunity to do it. And I noticed, like, her little kid, the youngest kid, he kept looking at my bike. He kept looking up at me. I was like, hey, do you wanna ride the bike? And so he kind of looks to his mom for approval, and she's like, yeah, go for it. And so I tell him, like, oh, it's a lot more fun when you sit on the bike and do it, so you get the full experience. And so she sits him on the bike, and he starts revving the bike. And then his older brother, he's like, oh, can I go? And I'm like, yeah, go for it. And so I pick him up and I put him on the bike. He's revving it, like, I don't know, maybe like 3-4 times. They're like, the kids are having a lot of fun. They're like jumping up and down, and they're like, do it again, do it again. And then all of a sudden, like, I hear this car door slam, like, bam, like super loud, trying to figure out what's going on. And it's like this woman's husband, boyfriend, I'm sure who, and he's like, hey, I forgot what he called her, but he was like, hey, what's going on? And she's like talking to him. I don't know their conversation. And then he keeps looking at me while he's talking to her. I'm like, oh great, here we go. And so I kind of like, hey, I'm sorry, like, your kids, they were interested in, like, revving the bike. Sorry if it got too loud. He's like, yeah, it's loud, you know, like, I got things I gotta do, and you're being like, he was upset. And I get it, you know, this bike is loud. And so I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, I gotta get going. So that was the end of that. I didn't want to escalate the situation and yada yada, right? And so I go up to feed the cats. I mean, it took only maybe about 5 or 7 minutes to do it, right? I wasn't gone very long. And I come outside, and right? And I notice my license plate is missing. And I'm like, what the fuck? Right? And I'm like, shit, like, well, fuck. And then I noticed that the woman, her two kids are gone, but the husband, he's sitting outside his vehicle, leaned up against it, having a cigarette, right? And he's just kind of like looking at me, and I'm like, this son of a bitch fucking, he stole my plate. Like he's probably been out here the whole time. I was gone maybe 5 minutes. Like, he would at least maybe have the decency to tell me, like, hey, someone was up on your bike, I saw them fiddling with it. Nothing. He just kind of stood there silently smoking a cigarette, just staring at me. I'm like, okay, well, you know what, like, I don't want the drama. I don't want to escalate things further. I'm not going to provoke him, because, like, maybe he didn't do it, and, like, it's not his responsibility to, like, tell me anything. I mean, a decent human being would, but I mean, he's not obligated to. And so I'm like, okay. And I was like, okay, well, I should probably just go home, because, long story long, so I've been doing Uber Eats on this motorcycle, right? And it's been a lot of fun, been making some good money. And yesterday, there was like a few events happening downtown, and I was making I made about $100 in about an hour and a half maybe, and I was kind of like projected to make maybe like 100 or 200 more, right? So, but I had to stop what I was doing because I had no license plate, right? And so that kept me from making more money. And so I was like super bummed about that. And I'm like, well, you know what? Like from my girlfriend's house to my house is about 3 miles, right? And I can get pulled over. And like, especially like in the bike community, when like an officer sees a motorcycle without a license plate, you know, it's fair to assume that, you know, this person's up to no good, and you know, I'm not that person, right? And so I'm like, crap, well, that's something I got to deal with. Like, first I got to deal with like not making any more money. 2, I got to deal with like possibly getting like pulled over. And then like 3, it inconveniences me because now I have to go make a police report, and I have to go to the DMV. Like, here I am trying to make money when now I have to spend that money, right? And it's frustrating, right? Like, I was trying to do something nice for like these kids, and this woman's husband, boyfriend, whatever, decides to take my plate. At least that's what I think would happen. I mean, 2 + 2 = 4, right? But, and it's the weekend, so now I have to wait until Monday to go make over a police report, go to the DMV, and so here I am riding dirty with no license plate. Yep. Hopefully I don't encounter any cops or anything like that, but you know, I think I have a valid excuse, but I don't know, it's just all too frustrating. I don't know. But yeah, there's a story. But anyways, I'll catch y'all later.